Salvador Dalí wasn't just a painter. He was a performer, a provocateur, and a master of spectacle. With his melting clocks, dreamlike landscapes, and eccentric personality, Dalí became one of the most recognizable figures of the 20th century. From his early days in Spain to blockbuster retrospectives around the world, Dalí's exhibitions have always been more than just displays of art. They've been experiences, immersive, surreal, and often controversial. Today, we'll explore the greatest Salvador Dalí exhibitions that shaped his legacy and continue to mesmerize audiences worldwide. The first solo show, Barcelona, 1925. Dalí's first solo exhibition took place in Barcelona in 1925 at Galeries Dalmau. At just 21 years old, he presented a mix of Cubist-inspired works, classical studies, and early Surrealist experiments. Critics praised his technical mastery, noting that Dalí was a painter with both skill and vision. For Spanish audiences, this was their first real encounter with the young artist's eccentric imagination. While not yet the full Surrealist style he's known for, the Barcelona show was the beginning of Dalí's public career. MoMA, New York, 1936. Fantastic art, Dada, Surrealism. Dalí's breakthrough moment on the global stage came in 1936, when the Museum of Modern Art in New York included his work in the landmark exhibition Fantastic Art, Dada, Surrealism. This show introduced American audiences to the Surrealists, with Dalí emerging as a star. Works like The Persistence of Memory, with its melting clocks, captivated viewers and cemented Dalí's reputation as the master of dream imagery. The MoMA show also marked the start of Dalí's long relationship with the United States, where he would later spend much of his career during and after World War II. Exposition Internationale du Surrealism, Paris, 1938. In 1938, Dalí played a central role in the International Surrealist Exhibition in Paris. True to form, he didn't just hang paintings, he created an environment. One of his most famous contributions was the Rainy Taxi, a car filled with mannequins and snails, with water pouring down inside. It was bizarre, unsettling, and unforgettable. This show revealed Dalí's talent for staging exhibitions that went beyond paintings, transforming entire spaces into surreal performances. It also reinforced his position as one of the leading figures of the Surrealist movement, though his flamboyance often clashed with André Breton and the other Surrealists. MoMA and the Art Institute of Chicago, 1941, Dalí's first U.S. retrospective. In 1941, the Museum of Modern Art in New York and the Art Institute of Chicago co-organized Dalí's first major retrospective. This was the moment he officially crossed over into the American mainstream. The show featured over 250 works, including paintings, drawings, and objects. For U.S. audiences, it was a revelation. Dalí wasn't just an eccentric European painter. He was a cultural phenomenon whose dreamscapes reflected both personal psychology and the collective anxieties of the modern world. This exhibition launched Dalí into superstardom in America, where he would design everything from jewelry to advertisements, collaborating with Walt Disney and Alfred Hitchcock along the way. Venice Biennale, 1954, Dalí reinvented. By the 1950s, Dalí was reinventing himself. At the 1954 Venice Biennale, he showcased works that blended his surrealism with religious themes and scientific imagery. One of the highlights was the Madonna of Port Liget, a massive, mystical painting that shocked critics but fascinated audiences. The Biennale proved that Dalí was still capable of surprising the art world, even decades into his career. Salvador Dalí Museum, Figueres, 1974, his own creation. Perhaps the most iconic Dalí exhibition is the one he created himself, the Dalí Theatre-Museum in Figueres, Spain, which opened in 1974. Dalí designed every aspect of it, turning a former theater into a surreal temple of his art. Giant eggs crown the roof, mannequins hang in strange positions, and rooms are filled with paintings, sculptures, and immersive installations. Unlike traditional museums, the Dalí Theatre-Museum feels like stepping inside the artist's imagination. It remains one of the most visited art sites in Spain and the ultimate expression of Dalí's belief that art should overwhelm and astonish. Centre Pompidou and Tate Modern, 1979 to 1980, a blockbuster retrospective. In 1979, the Centre Pompidou in Paris hosted a massive Dalí retrospective featuring more than 300 works. The following year, the exhibition traveled to the Tate Modern in London. These shows attracted record-breaking crowds. Visitors lined up for hours to see Dalí's paintings, films, and objects, from the great masturbator to his surrealist furniture. For many critics, the Pompidou show was the moment Dalí's art was reassessed, not just as kitschy or flamboyant, but as technically brilliant and historically important. Reina Sofia, Madrid, 2013. A new look at Dalí. In 2013, the Museo Reina Sofia in Madrid presented Dalí, all of the poetic suggestions and all of the plastic possibilities. This was one of the most important Dalí shows of the 21st century. With more than 200 works, it aimed to reevaluate Dalí's legacy, separating the man from the myth. The show revealed Dalí as a deeply intellectual artist, obsessed with Freud, Catholicism, and quantum physics. Crowds flocked to the exhibition, proving that Dalí's strange blend of science, religion, and surrealism still resonates today. Dalí and Duchamp, Royal Academy of Arts, London, 2017. In 2017, London's Royal Academy of Arts staged a unique exhibition pairing Salvador Dalí with Marcel Duchamp. At first, the two may seem opposites, Dalí theatrical and flamboyant, Duchamp cool and ironic. But the show revealed their surprising friendship and shared interests. The exhibition highlighted how both artists challenged conventions and blurred the line between art and life. It also showed Dalí's role in shaping the broader avant-garde, beyond just surrealism. Why these exhibits matter. Each Dalí exhibition reveals a different side of the man who once declared, "I don't do drugs. I am drugs." Barcelona, 1925, showed his beginnings. MoMA, 1936, and Paris, 1938, launched him as a surrealist star. The 1941 U.S. retrospective made him a household name in America. Venice, 1954, proved he could reinvent himself. Figueres, 1974, gave the world a permanent surrealist monument. Paris, London, Madrid, and beyond reaffirmed his importance to modern art. Together, they remind us that Dalí wasn't just about shock value. He was a visionary who combined technical brilliance with boundless imagination. Salvador Dalí's exhibitions were never just about paintings on walls. They were about creating entire worlds, dreamscapes that pulled viewers into the surreal. Whether through the rainy taxi in Paris, the massive retrospectives in New York and London, or his own museum in Figueres, Dalí demanded that art be unforgettable. Even today, decades after his death, his exhibitions remain some of the most popular in the world. They remind us that Dalí didn't just want to be seen, he wanted to be experienced. So, which Dalí exhibition would you most want to step into? His early Barcelona debut, the theatrical 1938 Surrealist show, or his own museum in Figueres? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more journeys into the greatest art exhibitions of all time.